Hey man, welcome back to Man Time. Today's episode, we are going to try to fix these LED lights that just aren't working. I plugged them in and just nothing's happening. So there's something called an LED driver inside of here. It's kind of like a ballast. You think with the LEDs you're getting away from replacing ballasts. Apparently that's not the case. Eventually the LED driver is going to die. You're going to have to replace it. So I've got a new LED driver. Let's see if we can work through replacing this driver and when it actually is going to make sense to replace the driver and not just replace the light. Welcome to Man Time. So first let's talk about when it makes sense, to replace the driver and not just replace the light. These are very high quality, high bay LEDs. They've got the, I guess the good LEDs, I don't know. They were fairly expensive though. They are a Superior Life Premium 150 watt, and these are multiple voltage from 120 up to 347. 50 or 60 hertz. They are a 5,000 degree color temp, and these are made for wet locations IP65. Luminaire is the other sticker on here. But yeah, these are a high bay light. These were fairly expensive, but not for me. These were in a dumpster and I got them for free, so it makes sense maybe to replace out just the driver. I did look at the specs on the old driver, which is right here. These are a 48 volt, which is pretty uncommon for LED lights, right? And most of the ones that I saw, of course I went on Amazon looking for a new driver. That exact driver does not exist on Amazon, so I'm looking for alternatives that are a 48 volt, right? Something that's going to power the LEDs. So what I found was this one here from Meanwell. This is an ELG 150 48 amp. Yeah, so 48 amp DC 3Y. Now this one isn't adjustable or anything, but while I was looking for this, I did, of course, LED high bay lights pop up one after another, right? And the majority of them were like $100, right? So, in doing the math in my head, I'm going to need, I don't know, 15 of these or 16 or something. I've got 15 or 16 of them, right? So I'm going to need 15 or 16 drivers or replacing the lights. So I'm going through and like testing them, and many of them don't work. Some of them do, but many don't. And so it makes sense for me to kind of stay consistent with this 48 volt system that they're running on. They still only pull like an amp and a half, so I can get a bunch of them on one 15 amp circuit or a 20 amp circuit. I can get a bunch of them on there, but I'm probably going to just use 15 amps and have like 4 or 5 of them on one circuit. But yeah, so since they were free and I've got some that work and some that don't, it made sense to just get a few of these $50 LED drivers. So let's get right in here and see what we're working with on the back side once you get it all kind of broke down and started the process here. Yeah, I think for your typical person, this is going to be kind of outside of what you might want to do, being that, again, most of these are about $100 a piece. It just kind of doesn't make too much sense to do that. So we'll start just by cutting the old driver off of there. I did test fit the new driver, and there's multiple holes on this where you can mount up, different kinds of drivers. So the driver that was on there, it only had 2 screws opposite one another. It looks like that's the way it's designed, and like I said, it's got multiple screw locations for many different drivers. That's nice that they were kind of thinking ahead to the guy that has to, replace the driver. And it looks like a pair of these do match up, just opposite one another. So that is looking good there. Next, we're just gonna have to go through, wiring it up. Stripping back the insulation on the main part of the wire and the cord. I'm going to have to reuse the cord from the old one. So I'm going to get these stripped off, wire cut back, spliced together, and then we'll see if it works. Okay, so I got everything just wire tied together, again, just to see if everything is going to work and make sure everything is going to, fit back where it's supposed to go and all that stuff. But we've got red to red, black to black, nothing special there. A little bit of a different color scheme here. You got neutral is blue, live is brown, and then green yellow is going to be your ground. So that's going to be a little bit different there, but you can see we've got all those going to the right corresponding stuff. And I've got a little test piece of cord here that we can try it out with. So let's flip it over and see what we get here. Oh, dear Lord. Okay, so that's working pretty well. Man, those things put out a lot of heat. That's nice. Okay, let's see if we can finish it up so it looks, somewhat professional. Yeah, you may be thinking that wire nuts aren't the best way to go about doing this, but I have several, electrical repairs, and I actually took some electrical classes. As long as they're secured, you really shouldn't have too much of a problem. So, let's see if we can find a couple holes that line up here and make sure we can get all this back together. So, no big deal. Typical stuff that's going to come along with repairs these days. Just trying to find something that's going to work here. Well, those were kind of riveted together. Yeah, that was kind of holding that together. Oh well. It is what it is. Okay, yeah, that looks like it's going to fit now. Alright, so let's get one of each of these started. Yeah, so these are problems that you might face when you go to replace your driver, right? The screws may not line up exactly right, and you may have to drill them out and oversize them just a touch. But the end result is a new driver. Okay. Yeah. That is lining up and fitting. Yep. Okay. Get this back down in here. And let's turn it back on just to double check to make sure nothing happened during that process. Black to black, white to white, green to green. let's just double check to make sure what we did there didn't affect anything. Boom. Nice bright light. LED driver, again, different. It's probably going to be common that you aren't going to find the exact LED driver that you need. And unfortunately, that was the case for me. So I just had to find something on Amazon that matched the specs. 48, I guess it was 48 amp or 48 volt. Yeah, 48 volt DC. So we got our new driver in there, and there you go. That is how you replace your driver, if it makes sense, right? That's going to be the more important question. Is the light worth replacing? Have you noticed like the light kind of degrade down where it might not even make sense to replace that? Or you're unsure if it's the driver that's bad or the LEDs. Again, they're $100 brand new. Typically the ones that are $100 and lower are going to be like 24 volt or even 12 volt. Typically they're going to be 12 volt. You really need to pay close attention to that. If you want something that's really bright and really powerful and light in a big space, you're probably going to want to go with the 48 volt. But the 24s seem to be, you know, nice and bright. And then, of course, the 12 volts are going to be more your budget type of stuff. And, you know, if you've got a smaller shop, that makes sense. And those are going to be under $100 typically, but they're not going to have the output or the brightness or anything that the bigger ones have. So that's why it made sense for me. I got the lights for free, and for $50, I'm getting a $150 light. So anyways, that's going to do it for today. Mantime, you like this type of stuff, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe down below. Yeah, Mantime isn't dedicated to fixing any one thing or doing any one thing. So if that's the kind of channel you're looking for, this may not be for you, but it is a homesteading, farmsteading, fixing, mechanical equipment, repair, and land maintenance. So if you're looking for that type of stuff and just enjoy sitting down with a cold beverage, watching somebody struggle through some sort of repair that you might need to do, this channel's for you. Get out there, have you some man time too.